Well, I don't know that I'm going to show you everything because last year they had over 3,000 sessions.
Wow.
So yeah, I don't know who said that, but even I was surprised on that. I didn't realize that. 2020 and before, uh, Roots Tech was an in-person event in Utah. Well, they also had one in London, maybe two, but there was a charge to attend. So, and you had to pay a registration fee, had to pay real money. It was like going to a convention because that's what it was. And then, of course, you had to have your hotel, you had to have travel, uh, and all that other stuff. Um, so anyway, um, COVID hit, and some people thought they were going to cancel it, and they figured out a way to make it virtual. It was all on your computer, comfort of your own home. You could watch it in your pajamas and fuzzy slippers. So that was really nice. So we had that for 2 years. And now, this year, it's going to be both ways. It is going to be both in person and virtual. I'm not trying to sell anything, but it is $98 if you want to attend. And for a 3-day conference, I think that's a pretty darn good deal. Or if you're at home, it's going to be free. And I will be honest with you, I don't know if they're going to have 2,000 sessions like or 3,000 like they've had the last couple of years. I just don't know how many they are going to have. I don't know if they know yet. But that is going to be March 2nd through the 4th in Salt Lake City, in case you want to go. I didn't realize that Roots Tech actually started back in 1998 as the BYU, Brigham Young University, Genealogy and Family History Conference, and it had about 4,000 attendees. And they had a few classes. Well, it turned out to be pretty popular. And they decided we need to do something more. So they moved it up to Salt Lake City. And I guess in 2020, they had 28,000 people
Wow.
go through the doors of the Salt Palace. And they had about 400 sessions. And I used to look at the offerings, and the offerings are extremely diverse. And at that time, you could pick a few sessions to watch online, but it wasn't very many. And I thought, boy, if I went to this in person, I would have a hard time figuring out what classes to go to. Well, the thing with this virtual method, you can watch them anytime now after the event. You can watch them during the event and then after. You can watch for 2 or 3 years. 2021, they had about 2,000 classes and was watched by over 1 million people.
Wow.
That just blew them away. I watched some of the videos on how some of their software engineers set this all up. And I go, I just don't believe they're doing what they're doing and how they're doing it. And we'll show you some of the things. They do different languages. They manage to handle different time zones, just a whole bunch of stuff. Let's see. And I guess last year, they said there were 3,700 different videos watched by millions. I saw a figure about 3 million. So that's pretty impressive. Okay, any questions on the history before we actually get into Roots Tech?
No, but I have never been.
and so I need basic information too. I have to fly into Salt Lake, is that correct? I have to get a hotel there? And
Yes.
you just said the Salt Palace is where it's held? So
Uh,
get
I
some-
think that's what it's still called, but yes.
Someplace around there is where I need to find a place to stay.
Yep.
And with that many people coming in, are they already all booked?
I don't have a clue. I do not have a clue. But like I say, I'm going to stay home and watch this in my pajamas and while wearing my fuzzy slippers. Uh,
I tried that on the first Roots Tech during COVID, when they put it online,
uh-huh.
and I had a really hard time with my computer. I just gave up.
Well, I am sorry to hear that. Do I need to have a chat with Terry and tell him to get you an updated computer?
Well, that's why I've got this one now.
Okay.
So I am hoping that I can get it on the modern computer.
Well, we will see.
Okay.
And Candy, since you have made that comment, I am going to rely on you to direct me on this. Because I kind of have a little outline of some things to show you. And if I get into it and don't cover what you want to know, let me know. But you said very basic.
Yeah.
If you go to the opening, oh, I guess I need to share my screen. Okay, let's move this. No, I want to keep that over there. Okay, share screen. Share sound.
Candy, there are a lot of hotels within walking distance, I think. Or I don't know if you're a walker. If you're a walker, they're in walking distance.
So I
You
can just
may want-
get those online?
You may want to look into it now, because there are good hotels downtown in Salt Lake. I haven't
Mhm.
been there in a long time, but they, they can fill up fast for something like
Yeah.
this. If there's
Yeah,
like
definitely.
28,000 people, like way a long time ago that were there's going to be a lot more. So
Right.
I would get on it now, because once they announce it, then everybody's going to go for it. So I wouldn't wait.
Yeah.
I get the hotel before I get the airline ticket.
Oh, that's a good one right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's, and there may be information here. Okay, first of all, somebody, okay, I can see Johnson's and Jenny. Can you see Roots Tech 2023 registration is open? Okay,
Yes.
we're gonna go down here. And it says, choose how you want to attend, in person or virtually. So Jenny and Candy, you may want to register for in person.
Now, what about registering for both? Because when you go back to the hotel room, you can go online and get it virtually, and then you don't have to walk all the way wherever at night.
It is my impression from 2 or 3 years ago when I looked into this, that if you register for the in-person, you have access to all of the stuff.
Okay.
And notice I said that is my impression.
Uh-huh.
But this is a little different this year, so that may be up there. But if you give me a minute, I'll show you where you can ask questions about it. Now, what I'm going to do is register for the virtual event, because I am not going to Salt Lake City. Love to be there, haven't been there in 50 years, wouldn't recognize it probably. But registration is super simple. And hopefully, so I know you now see a register for virtual event screen. Okay, I'm going to fill it out real quick.
Tell us what you're clicking on.
Oh, I'm just filling out my name, address, and phone number.
It's not as clear to some of us old people.
Oh, well, John, I have a different name than you do, so I'm putting in Jim, not John. But
Okay.
then that's all they ask for is name, email address, and phone number.
Okay.
And if you do this, oh, and now they're asking for country. But if you do that, they will start, and they do not flood you with text messages and emails. They do not clog your inbox, but they will send you reminders. And then they want you to agree to the terms and conditions, which is on down here. And then it said, I would like to receive messages from Roots Tech and by family search. And you can click this, or you can later unclick it, you know, if you don't like a lot of emails. And then just hit submit. Please wait. And I got confetti. So I am now registered.
Yeah, that's
Now, Candy, you had a bunch of questions, and unfortunately, I do not know the answers to all of those.
Yeah, but now you are registered for Roots Tech, but there's no password. There's no way for you to get in. How do you get to where you want to go on Roots Tech?
Well, we're going to be talking about that.
Okay,
We are now at the point where we are going to tour the website here.
okay.
Now, if you're like me, whenever you are looking at the screen, you move the people, you know, the little gallery of me, John and Shirley, Jenny, and the Family History Center and all that. It normally goes over on the right side of your screen. So just remember, some of the things I'm showing you may be over there, but you can move that screen out of the way. And in the upper right, and I'm going to try and make a big circle up here, there is a small circle with a question mark in it. And if you hit that, there is a whole bunch of questions and answers already done. Candy, you may want to go in there and start looking. And I believe there will also be a spot in there that you can send an email to them to say, hey, I need information on accommodations. So that is going to be a place to go. Or you and I can get together. I know where you live, and we can explore that, or you can come over to our kitchen counter and we can put our laptops there and explore that.
Okay.
So, and like Jenny says, she sounds like she's speaking from experience. You may, if you plan on going, you can click there. And I will admit, I do not know a lot about being there in person, never been. And what I'm going to talk about tonight is the website here. So what I'm going to do, I am going to go back to home. Well, no, actually, I can do it here. We have this on demand up here. Up at the top, kind of on the right. We can click on that and it says search the on-demand library. And there's a search bar here. They have filters here with things like getting started, research locations, topic. This is a convention. They have commercial vendors there. They may have
Muted.
products for you to
Muted.
purchase. And we may look at a couple of those tonight. That's the plan. No, I'm not trying to sell them. But maybe you know a certain speaker that you want to search their sessions. You can search for it here. They also have a guide so that you can, a guide to Roots Tech. So Candy, you may want to look in here.
So that's a list of the teachers and their subjects that they're speaking on, or? what-
Actually,
guide to
there,
what?
it's a guide. Well, let's take a look and see. This is basically, how do I start on Family Search? Connecting with Living Family. See more. I'll just let you know there is more there. And actually, in just a little bit, I will show you how to search speakers.
Okay,
There's a whole lot of different ways we can go on this. But let's go back here to search, and we're just topics are so varied. Some of the sessions, they're little videos, they're only a couple of minutes long. Some of them are an hour. Some of the keynote speakers, they spoke for 20 minutes. Some spoke for an hour. Topics vary.
I just got one little thing I was thinking about. Can I interrupt her?
Sure.
So one thing that I've never been to Roots Tech, but the reason I know is I lived there for, like
Yeah.
in Utah. And I know that the events, that sometimes when they all merge, like in general conference and then this type of thing, but I've also known people that've gone. So if you're going to go, then it would be a really good idea to talk to people who have been there. The Mosses would be great because they go every single year and they've got really good tips if you know them. But there's got to
Now,
be people that are right around the area that,
They're over in Plano area.
yeah. They should still be-
Okay. And then Karen Jorgensen from here in Bedford, I think, has gone.
Yeah.
So we can get you in contact with people, Candy.
okay.
But, I know you're interested in English research. When I did my service mission, I was working with African-American records. So I might want to check some African-American records. One time I was just watching sessions and there was one on something called a crypto Jew. And I go, excuse me? And it's about people from Spain that hid their Jewishness from the Spanish Inquisition, which was hundreds of years ago. And they are still Jewish 200-300 years later, but living in Mexico.
Hmm.
They're eating tortillas and we're getting a weird echo there. And yet, and matzo balls. It's really some fascinating things. But they have everything in here from apples to oranges. And in fact, let's try putting in apples.
Oh.
Well, one thing it brings up is using cloud photos on your Apple computer.
Okay.
And, just this little one. And I'm going to try and play a video. This one is only 2 or 3 minutes long. And you will get an idea of the variety. And whenever I start playing this, Jenny, I can see you on my side screen here. I want you to nod and let me know
Okay.
if you can hear it.
Okay.
I woke up this morning craving my great grandma's famous apple cake recipe, and I'm about to make it. Part of the reason I've been thinking about apples is we just had Christmas, and my family has a long-standing tradition that involves apples. Let me tell you about it. My great aunt Ida Mae Tenney was the apple of her father Samuel's eye. She loved to listen to the fiddle playing of a young cowboy named Todd Browning who worked for her father. Even though she was only 16, she fell in love with the young cowboy. One night, Ida slipped out of the bed that she shared with her sister Ruth. Todd was waiting outside. They ran off to New Mexico to get married. When they discovered what had happened, Ida's mother, Laura, was heartbroken and her father was angry. Many harsh words were spoken in anger, and feelings on both sides were very hurt. Several years later, around Christmas time, good news came to Samuel. His brother Ammon was returning safely from Mexico after 30 long years of hardship. Samuel was so happy that he threw a banquet to celebrate the return of his brother and his family. He sent invitations to relatives and dear friends to come and join the celebration. Ida Mae heard about the celebration, but she was not able to attend. Instead, she sent a large box of the biggest and best apples from her orchard. When Samuel saw the gift that his daughter had sent, it melted his heart and he wept with joy. He said, "With all my heart, I forgive my daughter Ida for any offense against me, and I thank my Heavenly Father for the safe return of my brother and his family." He served the apples to all his guests and called his offering the apple of love. It was Samuel's desire that his family serve apples of love each Christmas time.
Okay, I just thought that was a cute story. And he goes on to make this and gives you the recipe. Now, one thing I want to point out, whenever you watch this video, if you look down here, it brings up some other suggested videos you can watch that may have something to do with recipes and for doing your family history, because my sister and I have my grandmother's cookie recipe that she used to make for us back in Patricksburg, Indiana. You know, she made these wonderful cookies and put red hots on them. And, you know, all of the cousins have that recipe. We just don't make them. But, you know, we've got that, and it makes us feel closer to grandma. Now, one thing, whenever you're watching a video, you will want to go down below here and take a look. This one has add to playlist, which if you're signed in, you can add this to your favorite videos and you can go back and watch it in 2 weeks or whatever. And during the live event, there will be a chat room that you can get on there. But on some of these technical things, some that are more of a class, they may have the class syllabus. If they have a PowerPoint presentation, they may have that you can download. So always look down here. And sometimes if you check on the person's name who is presenting, like some of the genealogy people, some of the vendors, there may be a biography on them. They may show additional sessions by them.
Yeah.
But that is how you can find a session. And
Which grandma had the recipe?
that was Grandma Newport, Barilla.
Did I get one?
I think I have that too. I think I had those cookies when I was a kid. I didn't know where that recipe came from because I remember
well,
the little.
You and I will have to get together later and see. There's something about that recipe that makes it interesting to make.
I think Jill has it, but yeah, and it was probably written out. So I'm just curious that it's the same one or anyway.
Yeah, but she would make tons of those cookies. And you know, I said apples to oranges. This is one that I just thought was cute. And I related to it because when my sister and I were trying to find our grandfather, I mean, that's a whole long story we're not going into, but ended up down in the town where he was. And I met we didn't know Grandpa Hauser had a store. And one of the guys we met there said, well, I used to get my grape knee-high or orange knee-high at his store. So this reminded me of that. It's only about a minute long. 2 minutes.
Okay, so this is a story about my great grandpa Jack. And so this is part of the story. It's an orange Fanta. Yeah. So after serving in World War II, my great grandpa Jack went to BYU. Shortly after he had started classes at BYU, it was Thanksgiving. He had missed 2 Thanksgivings with his family while he was serving in the war. He really wanted to go home and spend Thanksgiving with his family. Home was 700 miles away from BYU. He decided to hitchhike his way home because he did not have enough money to pay for a bus ride. Several cars had picked him up and drove him part of the way until they had to turn to go to a different way. The last ride he had dropped him off in the middle of the desert. Not many cars were coming by at this point. It was a hot day. He was getting sunburned very bad. He was very tired and his suitcase felt very heavy. He was very thirsty. He started to think that he would die in the desert. He got down on his knees on the road and said a prayer to Heavenly Father. He asked Heavenly Father for his help to find a way home. Then he laid in the road for a few minutes to rest before he started walking down the road again. As he laid there, he saw something shining in the rocks on the side of the road. He walked over to see what it was. It was a cool, unwrapped orange soda pop sitting in the shade of a huge rock. He twisted off the cap and drank the sweet, cool orange soda pop. He knew that Heavenly Father answered his prayers. He felt so loved. This orange soda pop strengthened his testimony. My great-grandpa Jack was able to get home for Thanksgiving to be with his family. He swore to never, ever try to walk home from faraway places again, but he was thankful for the small but mighty miracle he experienced. So yeah, that's the story of my grandpa Jack.
Cool.
I just thought that was cute. But, you know, we've had a few cute ones, but if you go up here and look in the very upper right, there is menu. And if you click on that, now Candy, I don't know that they have this out there for, well, yeah, I think this is for 2023. There is a list of speakers here. This opened up a drop-down menu, but they've got things like speakers, they've got exhibit hall, and for the virtual event, this was nice. You could visit the Ancestry booth online. You could visit the MyHeritage booth online. You could visit Family Tree DNA online by going to the exhibit hall. Now, if you go to the virtual event, you can go to their counter and you can talk to them and say, hey guys, I need help figuring this out. They do have a section here specifically for Latter-day Saints. They have a store in case you want a Roots Tech t-shirt. And I actually like looking at the Innovators portal. The thing is, you know, the sessions we just looked at, they were kind of cute. They were kind of fun, relating a cake recipe to doing family history. I think Candy mentioned something about handling photos. And I think there is a spot in here. Well, this one, a cool way to share and record memories. That is something you might want to look at on how to handle your photos. Your stories shared privately in photos. And I will warn you on these. Some of these are super technical. Not everything is super technical, but it may be more technical than making an apple cake. They do have all levels. One I was fascinated with was taking a walk through your family tree. To me, this was amazing. And I thought, ooh, I'm going to get that for my phone. And then I found out you buy it for like 60, 80 bucks. Then you subscribe to it for like 15 bucks a month. But it's kind of a virtual family tree. And I thought about showing it, but it's about 10 minutes long. And it has, I mean, you can literally walk through your tree. It's like putting on the goggles, and it's just so far out there that I'm going, I don't think I could do this anyway. But that is the Innovators Portal, and this is the cutting edge stuff. This is what's going to be more common next year. Some of these are really neat. Some of them have free versions or trial versions. Goldie May is one, and I think they have Goldie May at family history centers. But he gives an overview on something he calls the map, subway map, and it connects with your family tree, and it shows records and where they are on a certain person. So if you see, okay, I've got a record in Montana, I've got a record in Montana on this year, I've got a record in Montana this year. And, you know, for the next 20 years, you have records in Idaho. Well, they're next to one another. Okay, yeah, probably right. But it'll show you if you have a record that's out there. It may not be wrong. It may not be right, but you need to look at it because maybe you have a record in Florida. Well, you don't know the guy went to Florida, but it visualizes a time and a place. So it's a very handy tool to see if you have a record out of place. If you sign in, remember you can create this playlist, and I need to sign in here. So I'm clicking on the sign in button, and this uses my family search sign in. And I have 10 or 15 sessions saved, so I can go to them anytime. My playlist. Now this is one from 2 years ago, and it's several minutes long. It tells you, and it's from 2021, but it tells you what's coming up. So now it's old information. There was one that told you how to prepare for the 1950 census. There was one that some friends here in Texas did on restoring the Conroe Community Cemetery. I mean, there is just all sorts of things that you can find here. If you go on, well, that's the on demand. Sorry, we've been there. Let's take a look back at speakers by going to the menu up here in the upper right. Come on, let's switch. Okay, you can do a search for a person, but you have to know who's there. But he said, it's saying they have over 100+ industry experts. So we have Steve Rockwood, who is the president of Family Search. We have some celebrities. Molly, I can't pronounce her last name, but she is a chef.
Okay.
You know, they just have a ton of speakers. And you may not know who they all are. Oh, this Nefi Salazar, he is a good one on Spanish Jewish.
Oh.
Yeah, fascinating whenever you get to those. And I have no Spanish and I have no Jewish ancestry, but listening to him is pretty
Okay.
fascinating.
Under their name, if it's written in their language, does that mean that the talks are given in their language, not English?
Maybe. And the reason I say maybe is I only do English, but it appears they probably are. But very good question, Candy. I'm going to click on one of these. And my Chinese is a little rusty, but I can read this part. You know, I said, make sure you go down and look at the bottom.
Ah, okay.
They give you instructions on how to auto translate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. So, and it, you know, on his session, he may, on some of them, he may have the syllabus down here or the handouts. So, yeah. Good question. Let's go back here to the menu and look at exhibit hall. Some of the big ones are, of course, Family Search. They have a virtual booth, Ancestry, MyHeritage, Family Tree DNA, and
Is this still for 2023?
you know what? I don't know. But these people are always there. Let's take a look. They will probably be there. I don't know that they've announced the lineup for 2023. But you can check out this session from 2022. And as you go through their booth, they start telling you on the various product demos here, how to find out the chromosome browser, the Y-DNA, and what an SNP is. And I don't know what this is, but I'll bet if I'd watch these, I would learn more. And all of these classes down here, and there's a see more down there, so there's more than just 4. So you get into it and, you know, you may click on one and then go with another and then go with another. And, you know, I think Rachel kept saying you end up going down the rabbit hole. So lots and lots of sessions and ways to go. So, you know, African-American genealogy, if you want Swedish or Norwegian, you can go back to that search bar. And I do not know how many sessions they are going to have this year. I'll bet part of them haven't been recorded. They may not even have all of their speakers this year. But let's check on RootsTech 2023 and see what it says. Well, nope, it's not there yet. What to expect? This is on down at the bottom of the page. Learning innovation, connection. And that's a big thing. One thing they found on the virtual event, they had a Cousin Connect. And if you register for Roots Tech and choose to participate in Cousin Connect, they want to access your tree on Family Search. And it will start telling you if you have a cousin standing next to you or perhaps online. So it's another way you can connect with people. And they also have that on the app on the phone too. You can do that there. Relatives around you, that's for another session though. But that's kind of how that works. And one thing to remember, especially when the event is live, if you look up here, there's a couple of little bubbles, conversation bubbles. They have thousands of people that are on a chat line that you can get a chat going. And I actually worked this a couple of years ago. Didn't get many chats, me personally, but it was kind of fun because you get to meet people and they want to know, well, is there a session on whatever, or what time does that session start? Because they didn't drop them all at the same time. They were dropped at different times of the day and on different days. And however their software engineers did it, if your computer said that session dropped at 6 o'clock, that was your time. If it was somebody, say, Jenny, I know you're in a different time zone. It may say 6 o'clock for me, but your computer is going to say a different
Actually,
time.
I'm still in East Central Standard Time, but
Oh, you are?
so,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, we're on the edge of it, but we're Central.
Okay. But you know, it may tell, your computer may tell you one time and it may tell, well, my sister another time, but yet it takes into account the time zones, and it's a marvelous bit of technology.
Well, that's good to know, because I would have sat there trying to figure out what time I needed to get on.
Well,
It said
they,
6 o'clock.
Candy, they really try. Like I said, I was privileged to some of the developmental videos whenever they developed this in 2021. And, you know, they had some of the engineers telling what they were doing. And I go, guys, I do not know how you are managing to do this. And it was just amazing, because you and I, Candy, are thinking Texas. Well, Roots Tech, I think they had people from 200, I didn't even know there were 224 countries in the world. But I think they said they had that many people. Anyway, however many it is, they had a whole bunch of countries represented all around the world. So it's quite amazing. And what they do, Roots Tech will come through in whatever language your computer is set up in.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like, you know, we have some people at church that are more comfortable with Spanish. Well, they may have it set on this time zone, but in Spanish, they're gonna get, will you experience Roots Tech in Spanish rather than English? And, you know, if they're in another time zone, it'll take care of that for them. It's pretty neat. But Candy, now I know we didn't answer all of your questions, but do you think you've got some hints on how to find out some of the answers?
Yes.
Okay, and you know what I would do? I would get a hold of Karen Jorgensen.
Okay,
She's been, and she will be able to tell you.
okay.
And, you know, you may want to go to the little circle and question mark and see if any, you know, what's answered in there. So anyway, on this one, you want to go in and click. Use that search bar in the on demand. You know, if you have a topic, be it DNA, Norwegian research, Minnesota research, Indiana, African American, Chinese, you know, whatever. Type it in there, and they've made this very, very easy to use. So go in there, look, play around. And you know, I cannot see who all is on here because I've got this over. Did anybody log in that has been to Roots Tech? No, evidently not.
John and I have been
We
there.
have no game,
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, when we were on our mission, we went, and then I went, I've gone a couple of years after that too.
Well, Candy, you need to go, you need to have a little chit chat with John and Shirley, and you guys should have jumped in on that. So, and this year is going to be different by being a hybrid event. So I don't know that they're going to have 2,000 sessions for us guys out here. We'll just have to see. But I do encourage you to go in and register however you want to attend. And Candy, if you go, I want you to send me a postcard.
Is there
From-
such a thing?
I don't know if they still do. Okay, I'll take a Roots Tech t-shirt. No, I'm kidding. I've got it. I've got more t-shirts. I'll die before I wear all of those t-shirts. So anyway, what other questions can I answer, or can we refer to the Johnsons since they know more about Roots Tech than I do and were holding out on me?
I don't have any more questions, but I just have to do something in order to get some questions.
Yeah, and you know, like with me not being there, I just can't answer for you. I'm sorry I let you
Yep.
down.
No, that's fine.
But I got you some good contact information.
You did. You did. Very good. Uh-huh.
They
And
do
I
have,
and I will have to look at my little card reader to see, or maybe Candy, you could take a picture of the slot on your computer and send to me, and I'll see if I can figure out what size it is and see if I can if my reader will fit in there. And you're more than welcome to use my reader.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah,
Okay, I wasn't sure if I was hooked up or not. I got a question. It's not about Root Tech. That okay? Because you triggered my thought when you was going through some of those classes, and one was on the DNA. And my daughter a couple of years ago for a Christmas present gave us a thing for that, was it 23 something, one of the DNA things, and I did it, but I didn't believe half of it when it came back, because my mother, her grandparents are full-blooded Indian, Cherokee, but it doesn't show I have any Indian blood in me or relatives. And that means that my grandmother would be half, my mother would be a fourth, and I'd be an eighth. But yet it doesn't show any Indian, but it does show kin to Neanderthal man. And then when I look at a lot of the things that they said was my ancestry, it doesn't match what I have on Family Tree. So I didn't know whether to believe half of that stuff. Does anyone else run into that, or Or am I wrong?
Something I will say, first of all, DNA, on some of those, sometimes it kind of picks and chooses what it wants to look at. And I know a person can have a certain ethnicity and they think they're half, and it only shows 30% when they know they're half, because things do get watered down. You may want to watch some of those little DNA videos here on Roots Tech, and they will actually explain some of that.
Well, I did publish in my
But
family
Jenny and
newsletter.
I had a situation where this lady contacted us. Well, actually contacted Jenny saying they showed us being related. And Jenny's there telling me this, and then all of a sudden she goes, Jim, the lady's Korean. and what it was, and we figured out it was somebody in our family was in the service in Korea and left some DNA there. And it kind of freaked us out for a while, but we were able to figure it out. But it is, a lot of people come up with things in their DNA that they don't expect. And I'll leave it at that.
Well, I published an article I found in my family newsletter about Indian blood. And they said this article was explaining the reason Indian blood doesn't show up a lot in these DNA tests is because when they do the test, they have markers. And let's say like Europe or something, you may have millions of markers they can compare to.
Yeah.
With Indians, they don't have enough markers so that it shows up. And they said, and then Indian tribes married within Indian tribes. So you can't really say you're Cherokee, Shawnee, or whatever.
That's what I meant by getting watered down.
Yeah. And that's the only thing I can think of.
Watch some of those videos. It may help you on your quest, and you can probably find a Native American expert that can in there in Roots Tech. Click that and put that in the search bar and see what you come up with.
All right.
Okay, I'm done.
I was just going to say to Bob that there's a lot of people that when they're looking for DNA are looking for small segments, and small pieces of things, like your grandparents being American Indian. One of the things that happens is they don't gather enough from people in small collections.
Yeah.
To really have enough to make a certain, diagnosis of what your DNA is saying. And there may be indications in there, but even the ones that that claim more, or they claim from the government these allotments and so forth, they have to go and they have to submit, and the people that are doing it are the people that have just done that particular tribe and so forth. So you're really looking for, for people that have really done a particular aspect, and you'll get more information from that than you will from all of the people that have done a lot of DNA across the world and maybe not ever seen anything from American Indian tribe.
Well, what got me thinking on that was my youngest daughter told me that all my genealogy is wrong because it doesn't show we have Indian blood. And I kept telling her that my mother's grandmother was full-blooded Cherokee on one side, and on the other side was full-blooded Shawnee. And so that made my mother half and me a fourth. And she said, well, it doesn't show there's any Indian blood, so you're doing all your genealogies wrong.
And just so you know, family 23andMe
Yeah.
looks at different things than Ancestry, looks at different things than
That's what I
Family
understood.
Tree DNA. So watch some of those videos.
Okay.
You may need to
I
do
was
another
told
test.
that, I was told that, and they said that what they look at is could be different. And if you did it on the other one, you could get a little bit different results.
That's right.
Yeah, because identical twins will have different results.
Yeah, I've read about that.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, are any more questions? Well, that was really good, Jim.